The law says no matter how frustrating our children become, we cannot euthanize them. Therefore, we alone are forced to deal with them. So I'm here to give single parents some tips and guidelines for raising a teenage son. How am I qualified to give advice, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. I've been a single parent of a teenage boy for nearly 5 years. And having been a teenage son myself, I believe I am one of the world's foremost experts on the subject. So, where do these lazy, video game addicted, hairy creatures come from? Believe it or not, these monsters were once your sweet, smiling little boys. No, it's true. According to Mary Brighton of BrightenYourHealth.com, 20% of adult height is achieved during your teen years. Well, that's a lot of growing in a short amount of time. And this explains why seemingly one moment they're in your arms, smiling, doing absolutely nothing wrong, and the next you're on your tippy toes, scolding them for not cleaning the bathroom again. Their bodies are going through some big changes, which explains what I like to call the sloth stage. There are a couple of things happening here. Being the age they are, most teens require more than 9 hours of sleep each night, according to sleepfoundation.org. So we just tuck them in bed at 9:30. Easy, right? There's a reason your teenager is wide awake at what should be their bedtime. Researchers call it the phase delay. Just before puberty, the biological clock shifts, causing our spawn to stay awake and alert when we want them to go to sleep. Our biological clock shifts back right around the age we actually have our own teenagers. It's nature's cruel joke on parents. This is all according to PBS Frontline, Inside the Teenage Brain. Since they still have to wake for school, you end up having a tired and listless teen. So unfortunately, there's not much we can do to actually make them go to sleep. No. Despite the sloth-like nature, laying on the couch and sleeping until noon on the weekends, my boy can eat pretty much whatever he wants and remain thin. His teenage boy metabolism is running at high gear, burning those calories like nobody's business. Now, when I say eat anything he likes, I'm not entirely being truthful. You see, I planned ahead. When he was a child, I wanted him to understand how bad fast food was for him. So I showed him that documentary, the one where the guy eats fast food for 30 days and throws up a lot. Wow, that did the trick. In fact, it works so well, he still has panic attacks when he passes the Golden Arches. Well, regardless, we don't have a big issue with burgers and fries in our house. But I'm not home to cook most days, and he won't cook anything that can't be microwaved, so I have to resort to a necessary evil: frozen dinners. But there's no pizza rolls or Hot Pockets here. I've consented to microwavable food, but I get to pick them out. Learn your nutritional facts and shop at stores like Whole Foods. We have Trader Joe's out here in California. I buy him tasty, low sodium, low sugar, fairly healthy meals. Sometimes they're even vegetarian. But don't tell him he's eating tofu. I'll never get him to eat it again. The point is, pick your battles. Speaking of picking your battles, let's talk about the sloth's cage. I won't lie to you. His room is a mess. Our kids have their social pressures, grades to keep up, chores around the house, and raging hormones. How about we give him this one? As long as there's no leftover food or dishes laying around the room and he does his laundry, I'll let him keep his room how he likes. But be cautious. Whenever you give a little, they always seem to want a little more. Just like the camel. Master, it's cold outside. May I stick my nose in the tent? Master, I'm still cold. May I stick my legs in the tent? Before you know it, the master's sleeping outside and the camel's warm inside the tent. Oh yeah, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. So ultimately, there's going to be more times you have to say no than yes. But what are the times you say no and they do it anyway? Scolding, discipline. It's so hard to look at that person you love so much and rip them a new one. But you cannot back down. This is part of the job. Just remain calm, state the problem, and make sure you give them a chance to tell their side of the story. But there always has to be consequences. Only rarely have I raised my voice. I did raise my voice not too long ago. I was at work. I had to talk to my son over the phone, and I felt bad the rest of the day. I broke my own rule, and I came down a little too hard on him, or so I thought. When I got home that night, he hugged me. He told me he needed to hear that, and he thanked me. Just when you think they're going to zig, they zag. They do listen, you know. You have to tell them over and over, but they do. They learn. That's how I learned. I was a know-it-all teen once, too. I would wake to my mother sitting on the edge of the bed, telling me the same stories I've heard 100 times before, all the time thinking, doesn't she know she's already told me this? Yeah, she knew. She beat me over the head with good information until I instinctively knew how to be a good person, a good father. So no matter how many times they roll their eyes, no matter how many times they say, I've heard this before, keep talking. You're getting through to them. And when they tell you they can't wait to get out on their own, there will be those moments in life that crush them. And they'll come running back to your arms. I instinctively woke in the middle of the night, knowing my son's heart had been broken, and of course mine broke with his. There were no words. All I could do was hug him. And that's what he needed. So please, don't be afraid to hug these big, scary monsters. Your scary monster needs your love and your hugs. Well, there you have it. The why, where, how, and I love you of a teenage boy. Their transforming body from a boy to a man, their eating habits, standing your ground, and always being there for them, no matter how hard they try to push you away. I'll leave you with this quote from an unknown author. Don't wait to make your son a great man. Make him a great boy. Thanks for watching.